Centrell Show. She's on fire. She will ignite your passion and bring your purpose to life. The strategy she shares will take you to higher heights, improving your energy, spirituality, your well-being, a better mindset for your journey to build a better you. She's on fire to take you higher. She's on fire to take you higher. The Centrell Show.
The Centrell Show. Centrell.
Hello and welcome to the Simply Centrell Show. We are doing things just a little bit differently today. I wanted to take a little time to reflect, look back on the journey. That's what we're talking about here, from the ground up, building a better you. And everyone has asked for a little bit more of my journey. What have I gone through to get to this point? And was it all planned? So I look back to what has now almost been a year in the making, when I was invited to do a radio show as a bigger platform of service. So those of you who have heard on the show, I'm on the board of directors for a nonprofit, and we have serviced young girls in helping them to realize their limitless potential. So that was amazing, and I was thinking, you know what, I should probably do a little bit more of that, or even something bigger. And so when the radio show opportunity came about, I was not super excited about it, because that means I have to step out of my comfort zone. I needed to actually be public when I was a very private person. I still am a very private person. So I didn't immediately jump on that opportunity. As a matter of fact, I prayed on it, thought about it. I talked to those people that I most trust about this opportunity and what it could mean. And months were passing by, months. And I received some really great guidance. You know, don't be selfish with the things you have to offer. You have to put those things out into the world, because you never know who's going to need it and who you're going to reach. I just wanted to make sure that I kept the authentic connection and relationship as I endeavored upon these things. My whole journey in life has been to build a better me, to be better, to incorporate the things that people have shared with me, so that I can go farther, so I can do it in a shorter amount of time. So even as I have prayed and thought and meditated on the opportunity to have a radio show, it still didn't truly hit me until around January of this year that yes, after all the encouragement and support and the praying and the meditation, yes, I should move forward with this, so that others can see the tools and the strategies and the things you actually go through, the discomfort, the frustration, the excitement of trying something new. So that trajectory was now in motion. I am now doing photo shoots and prepping for a radio show, which takes a lot. So here you've learned a lot in your life. You've probably been on this earth for a number of years and still have a lot to learn. So I even heard someone say that the best experience comes from your experience. Your learning comes from your experience. And that's true. You don't have it all. You literally learn as you go. So as I'm now doing more public things, photo shoots and makeup and teams and all of these things, again, completely uncomfortable, because it is preparing me for something that's a lot more public. I'm also now spending more time on social media, engaging with you, sharing all of the different things that are happening with you, so that you can understand, hey, I'm here, and preparing for what's to come. And the preparation continues. So fast forwarding a little bit, as I'm getting show ideas and trying to hone in on the message that I'm sending. What does it mean to build a better you from the ground up? We've been here for a while, so literally some of our foundation has already been laid, and we do need to tweak that foundation every now and then, because we need to make sure that it's stronger and it's ready for what's to come. It's ready for the next level. So I'm moving forward to the radio show, and I have some bumps along the way, right? You have plans laid out, and everyone knows what it means to plan because God has his own plan. And I thought, okay, well, when you do a radio show, you're going to start with preparing for the show. You're going to start with getting guests. You're going to have to go into the studio, do some pre-recording, some promos. You have folks that are doing their jobs. Everyone has their role to play, and everyone has their time in which to do it. Well, everyone knows the best laid plans don't always work out. And that's exactly what was happening. So here we move all the way to June and July, and I'm honestly not 100% on doing this radio show just yet. I've never done this before. Now, I've spoken in public. I've done things for corporate events. I've been around my family and friends. Yes, I can be outgoing in those circles. This is different. This is in front of the camera. This is not directly talking to someone one-on-one. So there's a little angst. There's a lot of discomfort. There's also a lot of practice that comes along with this, right? I have to look at those people that are doing it and glean from them what's going well and what's authentic to me and what may not be going so well and what I don't want to pick up. So there's a lot of time and energy put into those things, and I still have to maintain meditation and prayer because I want to make sure that I'm doing everything in the right order and the right perspective for the right reasons. So June, July approach, and I actually have a day where I'm supposed to go and record, and we've already gotten the show date. We're ready. We're starting. It's coming. The month of August is fast approaching, and I'm ready to record on this day some things that are going to be pivotal for the show. I get to the recording session and no one is set to record. Not only are they not set to record at the agreed upon time, we're not recording at all. And then the trajectory changed to, we need to do something else. Matter of fact, we need to go to a different meeting, a different venue, and change course. How many people know that sometimes changing course is a good thing? So you may have something planned out, and God has another idea in mind. Now, I could have gotten upset. I could have become frustrated and decided, you know what, I'm not changing course. We had something on the docket. That's what we were going to do. And it's not going to happen. You know what, I can go find something else to do. I didn't that day. I didn't want to go to this event. I decided to go anyway. Hello, 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 everyone out there, and welcome to the Simply Centrell Show. I am too excited to be here with you today. We are talking about taking the limits off your life. That's right, no more limits. Hashtag possibilities. You know what to do. We are inviting you to like, share, follow on Facebook and Instagram. We want to make sure that you are following this conversation. It is all about you. This is From the Ground Up, Building a Better You, my platform to share with you what my journey has been all of the time that I've been here. I won't even tell you how long that's been. I'll let you guess. I just wanted to come here and share exactly what I've been experiencing, who I have met, the tools and strategies I have learned that have allowed me to build a better me. It is time for us to not have any more limits on our life. So let me share a little bit about who I am. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm from New Orleans. And of course, you know who that. I have to say hi to all of my New Orleans peeps out there. That's right. Make sure I say hello to my family, my friends. Thank you for supporting. I hope you're out there tweeting and sharing and giving your comments. Everyone that has been there for me all the way up until this point. This is absolutely a labor of love, and it has been growing inside of me for a very long time. So as we go through this journey, sharing on this platform, you're going to learn a lot about me. We won't talk too much about me today. I really want to make sure we dig into the conversation And the conversation is about you. It is about making sure that you are supported, that you are motivated, that you are energized, ignited to pursue your passions and your purpose. That is what we are here for. It is much needed. We have to take the limits off of our lives so that we can be who we were designed to be. There are many people who have sown into my life and who have brought me to this place today. So I'll tell you, a few years ago, almost a few years ago, this year actually, I suffered a major loss in my life, and it kind of woke me up a little bit, and I was broken. I'll say I really was, and spent a lot of time just crying and doing a lot of soul searching, praying, meditation, all of those things, and I was questioning what my life was about because I had just lost someone very special to me. So I'm sharing this with you because this brings me to why I am here. In that time when I meditated and prayed, and I'm asking, what is the purpose of my life? I know what some of my talents and gifts are. What is the purpose of my life? And as I did that, I started to get the revelation. God started to show me my purpose is to be of service. What I have done in life is shown up for people. And in that, I have been able to share the things that I have learned, people that I have met that have told me, hey, this is the direction you go. Let me save you some time. And that's what I want to do here today. I said, well, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? Should I take this and maybe start working with a nonprofit? And I did, because my thought was that was the start. And thank you, Girls on the Run Greater Houston. I have had the opportunity to serve on that board. We support young girls to build them up, confident, and let them know that limitless potential is what they have. And that's one of the reasons why we're talking about no more limits. It's not just for females. I just want you to understand that this is not new for me. This is me building upon something, and now I am sharing it with you. So then the next prayer, which was last year, and last year was, okay, how can I be of greater service? And in my small mind, I thought a bigger nonprofit. And God said, no, I have something better in mind. And that brings me here. So the platform is for me to share my journey in hopes that on your journey, you will start to change the way you think, change the way you operate, move forward in your life. And we're going to start today with the most important step. Take the limits off. Possibilities, that's what we're talking about. So I invite you to like, share, follow, use the hashtags @SimplyCentrell, #possibilities, #KYND radio, and just make sure to share the message of positivity. That's where we are. We also invite you to call in a little bit later, 832-230-5592, when we invite our guests to speak and enjoy and join the conversation. So I don't want to belabor our guests that we have today. You know how wonderful it is when you have talk that inspires, and we thank KYND for giving us this opportunity and this media platform to share that information. I had the awesome pleasure of working with this gentleman that's going to join us on today's show, and his name, Timothy Jones. You probably already know him, out of California. He is a director, a filmmaker, an actor, producer, and TV host. Now, that's a whole lot. Now, when I met him, that's not what he was doing. So we're going to talk about that, because when I met him, this is not what I was doing. So there is a journey here. There's a story here. There is some motivation. There are some steps in between. And at the end of the day, I want you to understand possibilities require action.
Well, you know what's funny, Centrell, and I want everyone that's listening and watching to know this. As many, we use the word haters, and it sounds so negative. But really, there are people in your life, I guess we give them that label because they don't necessarily agree with what we're doing. They don't necessarily see what we see in our vision. So call them haters, non-believers, whatever you want to call them. They may outnumber your supporters, but to Centrell's point, you only need a couple of people who believe in you. You'll never have an equal amount of supporters. I know in my personal experience, I don't have hundreds of people saying, or thousands of people saying, you know, you can do it. I believe in you. Go for it. Doesn't matter if you can pay your bills or not. Reach for the stars. You know, the majority of the people, you know, they're afraid for you. They're afraid that if you, you know, lose something or if something doesn't look right, they hurt for you. So I just wanted to make a point that you only need a couple of people. So Centrell, to answer your question, I only had, you know, 2 or 3 people, if that really were those mentors during those periods where I felt like giving up.
So would you say at that point you were already passionate about acting? When you decided to change your major, you had decided this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm going to do.
That was my purpose. Not only that was my passion, but that was why I'm put on earth.
Oh. Well, see, and that's awesome, because some people feel like they have to have known it early. You know, say you have a talent of singing, or you have a talent of playing an instrument, and people feel like, well, that should be your passion. That should be your purpose, should be wrapped up in that. And that's not necessarily the case. You know, you may not have the wherewithal to know what your passion is until later in life. And it could be in your 20s or your teens. It could be in your 30s. When it happens and you know, and then you can move in that. So that's amazing. So I don't think everyone knows that your name actually means passion. So, yeah, my name means beautiful sunflower, hence the sunflower, right? Your name means passion, which is why our show is about passion meeting power. So talk to me a little bit about what your name actually does for your destiny. What does that do as you move forward in your passion and your purpose?
Wow, very profound question, and I love it. It leads me.
Yeah.
It really leads me in my purpose, because I can't imagine doing anything else. This is it. So I'm very, very passionate about not only my career, but the art, and giving back and teaching, and giving my knowledge and wisdom to the next generation coming behind me.
Yeah.
So it leads me definitely. Just having meaning. And right now for me, it's about just leaving a legacy. You know, it's about legacy building at this point. You know, so yeah, definitely. Great question. Yeah, I love it. Keep it coming.
Well, we want to know who you are, and so, you know, I have kind of looked at some of the different cultures in African culture. They have said that your destiny is in your name. So for your name to actually mean passion, it kind of makes me think, what does everyone else out there need to do? They might need to take a look at what their name means, and that may unlock the key to their passion and their purpose, the reason why they're here, right?
Right.
Now let's talk about living on purpose. We were talking about intentional living, which when I spoke with you and we talked just a couple of months ago, we were talking about all the wonderful things that you're doing. That's what I kind of felt. I felt like you were very intentional about what it is that you do, what you give your time to, the example that you actually set as a role model, because I believe we're all modeling some role for someone to see whether we're doing it on purpose or not, right? So for you, what is your purpose?
Oh, wow. My purpose, and when I launched the company, I think that's when I really found my purpose, like we talked about it. And my purpose is to impact. It is to inspire, to influence, empower, and educate, whether I'm using creative arts, whether I'm using social work, or I'm using the platform of a pulpit. to do that. That is my purpose in life. And my target, women and children, particularly African American girls. That is my target. And I say that because I'm an African American woman who was an African American girl who had awesome role models. And so it's not excluding anyone else out. It's just simply highlighting who I am.
Absolutely. No, and that makes perfect sense because, you know, everyone says, well, you have to have a target in mind, right? And when we talk on the show, there's so many different people we bring on. And the reason is because I want everyone to be able to see some representation of who they are, where they were. My life, my background, my journey is completely different than yours, right? And so for people to realize that they can be better, sometimes they first have to see someone else doing it. I'm always talking about taking action because it's what I do. And it's a word. There's so many things that go into taking action. It's not just taking one step because the staircase has many steps, and so to see,
good. Okay, you have to, okay, there's two. I need a notebook to start writing these wonderful quotes down that I'm gonna have to borrow from you.
You can't borrow my quotes. She can't borrow them.
I can't borrow.
Remember, you heard it here first. When you hear it, somebody needs to DM me. Let me know.
But I'm gonna make sure that it says Simply Centrell. Hashtag from Simply Centrell.
Oh, that is hilarious. Well, no, because I think that's we're all sharing some tidbits, right? As things come out of your mouth and as things come out of my mouth, it's gonna land on the ears of someone, and they're going to resonate. With how you're saying it or how I'm saying it. So the examples are real. And I think that what we miss is all of the different characteristics that we see in people, in our children, right? And we think, oh, sit down and be quiet. That's you're being aggravating. All of those things, when we forget that that's when their personalities are starting to come together. That's when they are exhibiting who they are. What's going on in their spirit and their soul is starting to come out, right? Whether it could be that they're banging on stuff and you stop making all that noise. And really they're going to be a musician one day. And as adults, we get wrapped up in all that you're making too much noise, sit down and be quiet, all of those things, because we're in a more settled place when we need to allow people to, you know, exude and from a young age become who they're going to be. So, and who we're going to be can be a whole bunch of things. I think you're like 12 things right now. So
I think I've been told that.
I think you're like 12 things. So the fact that you impact, inspire, you do this in so many different you know, facets of your life. That's just amazing to me. As far as your journey, what brought you here? Because you said your purpose came when you started writing and doing all of those things. So what brought you to that?
I think what brought me to that, I am an only child. I am an only child. And so I was around adults a lot. And my parents were very busy. They were very active in a lot of civic organizations and the community. And my mom wore 12 hats. And so I was a child that was always, and so I was that child that was always going along with the parents. And so I would always write. I think I was about 14 at that age. And I was a bright child. I skipped 2 grades. And so I was about 14 and I was writing poetry, and I went and we listened to Maya Angelou in Washington, D.C. And I remember looking at this woman who was so poised and so prolific speak, and I thought to myself, I can do that. You know, I really did. I looked at her and I thought, well, I can do that. And so I began to pattern my speech and the way that I spoke and the way, and I would always look at different people besides my family members. And so that's how I would say that's how the writing really picked up. And the more I wrote stories, the more I found my voice in different ways. And I was always one who wanted to champion a cause in the school. And I was the one that would challenge teachers, and so they would make me write an essay about it, or
right up your alley.
Just go write something about it. And I would challenge my parents on punishments, and my dad was I would, and my dad would say, well, write, just write it out. And so so they really empowered me to write. And somewhere along that line, when you are socially immature. Although you may be academically intelligent, but socially immature.
I love that.
You begin to fall into some pitfalls.
Yes.
If you're not fully prepared. And being the only child, my parents did not have any older siblings to practice on, because you know that's what really happens. You practice on the older siblings.
Oh my God. And then you're trying to tell me that my parents practiced on me?
And then usually by child, 2 and 3, you really got it going on.
Right? And not only that, we're talking about preparation. I want to make sure that I say that, because I don't think people realize.
No.
You've got to prepare.
You've got to prepare.
Just because someone asked you to be a sponsor, or because you decided you're going to be a sponsor, or someone asked you to be a part of something, you don't just show up.
No, you can't do that at all. And there was a lot of preparation. And then on top of that, and you know this, but I did a lot of traveling before the conference.
Yeah.
So trying to prepare before the conference and while I was on the road, it was just helter-skelter. But the reality is, I took the time to prepare myself, to prepare my mind, to prepare my body, to get myself in the right frame of mind, to get the right people, the right team around me. We talk about team, to get the right team around me so we can start to put the pieces together in order for us to present on a day like today. And to me, it was just fantastic, because it was more than just Warren Winston, which was the brand, but it was about the shift, not in Warren Winston, and the shift for those that are around that were attending the conference. So it was definitely it was difficult, but it was well worth it.
It was right, because and you're considering not only how you're showing up, you're considering how those around you are going to react to how you show up.
Absolutely.
So, in preparation for this conference, LaShonda, because I want to make sure that we bring everyone into the fold from the beginning. Yes. In preparation for the shift, tell me what your journey was like.
Well, anytime you are an innovator, you have to know, what is the idea, what's the vision. You may not know the puzzle pieces, but you just know what the big picture looks like. Yeah. So it was strategic, really looking at, the speakers, the panelists, what is the need? Yeah. Because I believe we're created to build community. Yes. And from the inside out, and as we continue to build, we want to make sure that we have the right piece in place. So that was really one of my main focuses, getting those right pieces in place. Yeah. Talk about money. Let's talk about marketplace. Yeah. And let's talk about your mind, because it all starts there. Yeah. You can't operate in any of those arenas without having your mindset strategically assigned in a correct place. Absolutely. Yeah. So basically that was my preparation, making sure, one, what do you want me to do? As a Christian woman, I asked, God, what do you want me to do? What is the need? Yes. How am I going to build community? Yeah. And then he said, I want you to create a shift, a conduit, an action place for people to hear an idea, perceive it, and then act on it. Yeah. That's it.
I love that. I love action. Yes. So when you say that, an action place, because I don't think people realize that when they come into a place of needing a shift, it requires action. Are back with Erica Shaffer, and we are inviting you to like, share, follow at Simply Centrell on all the social media. We've had an amazing conversation, and we've dropped a lot of tidbits for you so that you can build a better you. Now, we don't want to forget to get back to the pursuit, right? So we were talking about you being an actress. Is that where it started?
Yeah, ever since I was a little girl, I would just dream about being an actor. And what's funny is, I don't know if it's maybe a female empowerment thing, but we call ourselves actors, and I don't know if that makes male actors upset or not. But it's kind of funny, because I think we started changing it maybe 10 or 15 years ago. Maybe because actress sounded cheap,
like mistress.
Like mistress.
I didn't even think about that.
I know, it's funny, but it is a gender-specific job, but however, I do audition against men all the time.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Sometimes they're not sure if they want a man or a woman.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes they probably don't want to have to change it. We need an actress. Just put actor and it
Yeah,
covers
just to
everyone.
ask for actors and they'll show up.
Yeah.
But getting back to, yes, I've always wanted to be an actor, and ever since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I did not grow up in Los Angeles. I grew up in San Diego, so I wasn't, there wasn't any real industry. At least my parents didn't know how to get me in. So I was in the California Ballet Company from the time I was 6, and performing was my life. It was everything. And I just knew that one day I'd figure out how to be an actor. So I got a scholarship as a dancer to go to undergrad. And while I was there, I auditioned for a play, and I was the only dancer that got cast as an actor in a play, and which was a big deal because usually they really categorized us. Well, you're a dancer, you're an actor, you're a singer.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to jump on over.
Yeah.
And so I was able to prove myself doing that play at 18 years old, and I was allowed to join the acting program.
Yeah.
Which is what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I just was so thrilled and just loved studying. I love the craft. I love what we do as actors. We really delve deep into the psychology of the human being and the human spirit.
Yeah.
And taking on character, we do in a very mathematical way. Just how we all memorize our lines and go beat by beat. It's basically understanding the human condition in a very scientific way.
Yeah.
And being able to repeat that over and over and over again and going right into it.
Yeah.
I didn't study method, I studied Stanislavski. So I don't need to be a homeless woman to play a homeless woman,
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I don't need to live in that character at craft service.
Okay.
And I think that's really important because I think you could possibly make yourself crazy if you're not able to step away.
Right.
Because, there's scenes where, the times I've been murdered, the times I've been
Those
hurt.
are dark places.
I played an abused wife. That you have to be able to walk away from it and go to lunch with everybody.
Yeah, and be like, oh, we're done with that.
So it is a craft, and it is something that needs to be studied.
Would you consider that work? Or?
It is work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people say that when you do what you love,
right,
and you've wanted to do this all your life, that you don't work a day in your life.
But it's work that I love doing. I guess it is work to do the work.
Yeah. People have to know that. Just
you're
because
not
you do
just
what
be
you
able
love,
to show up on set
there
and everything's
you go.
going to be great.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get lucky because they're the right look at the right time. But for longevity, you have to be trained.
Yeah.
You have to understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to be able to be directed, and I'm directed by different people every single week.
That's a good one.
I don't just work with one boss. I have a new boss every time I'm on set.
Yeah.
For
So
every
you
job.
have to be able to work with a number of different people.
You have
to be able to be coached, because even at this point,
you have to keep your mouth shut and
Yeah.
take direction.
I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Because you're not doing everything perfectly.
I'm not there to direct, and I'm not there to write it. My job is to memorize what the writers wrote.
Yeah.
And create the character the way I see it and be directed.
Yeah.
I think where actors go wrong is when they get combative with the direction. You have to understand where we're all at.
Yeah.
The director is the ringleader of this circus.
Yeah.
Suggestions might be welcomed,
Might be welcomed.
but not often.
Yeah. And when they're not, be okay with that. And
Be
just
okay with it.
go
The
back
one
to
thing
your
I learned,
craft.
because then I went to grad school, so I have a bachelor's and a master's in acting. In grad school, the best thing that we all did to each other when we would be sitting getting our notes after doing our Shakespearean run through of whatever play we were doing, is there was always one kid that couldn't take the note, and under our breath, take the note, take the note. You just take the note.
Just do it already.
Take the note.
Yeah.
And it really, sometimes it's a lot of self-reflection. Like, you think you're doing it right, but maybe you're not.
Yeah.
And maybe, and here's where a tool comes, do an opposite. Pick an opposite way of approaching that scene.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. You said so many things in just that. One, you have your faith. and it's going to be tested.
Absolutely.
I don't think that people realize, because they see you and they probably seen you on social media and they see all the wonderful things that you're doing. You're traveling all over, you're doing a tour for A Question of Faith, and probably done it for many other projects, and they think, oh, it's all glitz and glamour. There couldn't possibly be anything that you're experiencing on a daily basis that is causing you to maybe even question why you're doing what you're doing. Yet, that's what's happening every day. And it is what happens in life. No matter what your role is in life, you have to decide whether or not you really want it bad enough to continue to pursue it, knowing that something great is on the other side, right?
Yeah, what I would tell people is, if you don't love it, get out of it.
Yeah.
That this is not a thing of, you're not gonna have no cheerleading squad on this. And I don't care what it is. If you wanna be the best teacher, you wanna be the best attorney or doctor, if you don't love what you're doing, switch careers. You have to love this business to do what I do. This is not about glamour. Anybody will tell you Hollywood's not about glamour. Anybody, only people who think it's about glamour, people who just don't have a clue. But if you look closely in the news, every day you see somebody in Hollywood being crucified or going through it. Their whole personal life is out there, dealing with all kinds of accusations or just dealing with no privacy. So you really have to love this business to do it. You really gotta love what you're doing. I tell that for anybody, because if you love what you're doing, then it doesn't feel so much as a push. Because you're not going, nobody's gonna be out there really cheering you along. Your family probably cheer you along, but that's about it. This business is interesting. How the closer you get towards your goals, you're probably going to lose a lot of people close to you, because everybody's not going to be for that season, or everybody's not going to go in the same direction as you. So you really have to love it, because you internally have to push yourself. And if you don't really love it, I tell people all the time, this business is not for you. You should get out.
I love So I read that you have an ongoing goal of supporting women and paying it forward so that they can become entrepreneurs. And as powerful women in business, media, and philanthropy, my platform is to build a better you. So action coaching is amazing and important in our lives, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, overall well-being. You talked about that today. So tell me, as the advice that you would give to myself, even a number of the women that are here in our audience today, what is the one thing that you have done to build a better you?
So one of the common questions that I got a lot when I would do speaking engagements or in interviews was like, how do you balance being a mom and an entrepreneur?
And then Centrell, I think about you with your actions. Yes, the one and only action coach, and I think about how you're able to share those corporate principles, and then the lifestyle of how you're able to give them real action steps so they can reach their assignment and the finish line on time. I mean, it's just amazing for me.
He is setting the bar for the next generation. There is going to be so many people that are going to be looking up for this kind of opportunity, and all I'm going to say is, if this beautiful lady can do it, then so can you. And I want everyone out there to make sure that they listen to this lady's words and follow in her footsteps, because she is setting the bar to make sure that every single one of us believe in ourselves. So thank you, Centrell.